Good morning and welcome on this wet October the 21st 2019 morning, and we're looking at how Ealing's changing, and we're having a brief look at how cycling is changing in Ealing. Behind me you will see a two-lane segregated bike track that's actually in Hounslow that runs south from Boston Manor Tube Station to almost the A4. I use this road a lot. It's not used very much. In fact, people often cycling south use the road rather than use this dual segregated bike track. It costs £600,000 to build. It's about a half a mile long. And today there haven't been very many people. It's raining, and but goodness gracious me, I'd be the last person to say that cycling is just a fair weather sport. Right, now we're going to move a few steps from Hounslow into Ealing, and what do we see behind me? It's roadworks to continue this two-lane segregated cycle lane all the way north along Boston Road into Hamwell. Now, I don't know how long this is going to go, and I never saw the public consultation for this, and I do live close to here, but if it goes for a mile it will be costing 1.2 million. Now, you could say, yeah, but this is Transport for London money, and I would say yes, it is. That means it's still public money. Okay, now it's very important to realise that in order to spend that amount of money, there has to be the expectation that people will use these segregated cycle lanes. Okay, all the time we filmed just in Hounslow, we actually saw two cyclists in about 10 minutes. Okay, so let's now move on to another location where there's been another implementation in Ealing. So here we are on Ruislip Road East near Gurnell Swimming Pool. We're standing in a quiet way which is for both pedestrians and cyclists. It's a kind of strange idea. I don't know how the legals work if you get mowed down by a cyclist, but this runs from the Argyle Road behind me all the way down to almost the centre of Greenford, so it's about a mile. Now, the idea is that this quiet way will link up with one that would go all the way into the centre of Ealing. Now, a bit of background on the past. In 2012, Councillor Bell led a huge bid for 38.5 million for a mini Holland pilot project. Unfortunately, the council didn't get that project. Another London borough, or maybe another London borough's got it. But ever since then, I think the council has been planning how could they introduce this sort of mini Holland approach, perhaps in a piecemeal way of getting grants from TfL. And we're now going to look at where the major money is going to be spent in the centre of West Ealing, the centre of Ealing. We're now on the Uxbridge Road in W5. Behind me the road runs down to the Broadway in West Ealing, and looking east we have the Uxbridge Road, Broadway and New Broadway into the centre of Ealing. Now, this is where quite a lot of money is going to be spent on a thing called livable neighbourhoods. Behind me in West Ealing the project's already underway. £9 million is being spent, and it includes creating segregated bike lanes, one east, one west, and the removal of the bus lane. Looking towards the centre of Ealing, the new livable neighbourhoods project, which will be 10 million, and the bid will go into TfL next month, will again almost certainly involve removal of the bus lanes and the building of segregated cycle lanes. Now, it's worth considering just how many cyclists there are. The Department of Transport estimates that it's 3.4% of the populations that cycle 5 times a week. The London School of Economics has come up with figures that it reckons on every day in London 34% of the population use public transport. Now, a lot of those will be buses. Again, who are the cyclists? Well, according to Cycling UK, the major group are 30 to 34 year olds, and there are 4 times more men than women. So we're going to spend 19 million of public money, some of which will be to the detriment of the public transport users. So if we look at the real numbers in Ealing, we're talking about 11,600 cyclists and 116,000 users of public transport, and tens of thousands of those are people who use the buses. So what kind of madcap priority is this? What kind of rationalisation is this? Millions have been spent in Ealing and London over the years for cyclists, and the 2008 figures from London Borough of Ealing is that comparing the years of 2014-15 and 2015-16, the number of cyclists increased by just 2.4%. So again, is this a form of transport madness? Now, of course, I could be wrong, and in 10 years' time, these segregated lines could be full of motorised cyclists and, yet to become legal, motorised scooters. Anyway, the thing to tell all the people who are going to move into the new 81 tower blocks, whether they be offices or residential blocks, is that with over 76,000 bike racks, 76,000, there'll always be somewhere to park your bike at night. Thank you for joining Exposure Box. Come and see us again next week.